You are paying $2,000 a month in rent. Meanwhile, house prices in Toronto, Vancouver, even Halifax are getting out of reach. Everyone says, first time home buyer? Good luck without rich parents or a lottery ticket. But that's not true. Right now, thousands of first time buyers are getting in, even with higher interest rate and even without a giant down payment. So, what's their secret? What do they know or do that lets them break in while others get left behind? This video is a crash course for buying a first home in Canada. Most people get stuck for one of the three reasons. They are chasing someone else's timeline. They don't know what they can afford, or they buy with a broken strategy. But by the end of this video, you will have clear answers to these 5 essential questions. That is why, when, where, what, and how. So you make smart decisions without regretting it later. Let's start with the big question. Why do you want to buy a home? Most people don't have the real answers. They say they are buying out of FOMO, or because their friends are buying, or someone else told them that this is the best time to buy the house. But here's the thing. Buying at the market bottom doesn't matter if you can't hold the home. Losing your job or stretching far beyond your means ruins more lives than bad timings. So ask yourself, why do you want to buy a home? Because the wrong why can trap you into mortgages that kills your finances, flexibility, and freedom. The only real reason to buy a house is that when you feel that you are settled, your income, your lifestyle, and priority are supporting the move. Otherwise, renting is still smarter. Many first-time buyers are obsessed over down payments. Yes, down payment is one piece. But even with 10% saved, you are dangerously unprepared. Because the real question is not, can I buy? It is, can I hold this house through real life's ups and downs? Unstable job, no emergency fund, or starting a business next year. Here it is what no one tells you. Getting approved for the mortgage doesn't mean you're ready to buy. Because lender, they don't care about your stress levels, job security, or life changes. So let's fix that. I will walk you through 6 crucial rules so that you know that you're ready to buy, including one that most people forgot, and that can ruin your financial future. Rule number 1, emergency fund. Make sure you have 3 to 6 months of your post-purchase emergency fund saved. Rule number 2, down payment and closing cost. Ideally, having 10% down payment is good, but you can also do 5% or 7%. In Ontario alone, closing cost comes around 2%. And additionally, you have to take into account like moving, furniture, or appliances. That cost adds up really fast. Rule number 3, job security. Make sure your job is safe and stable and you are not on probation. Rule number 4, credit history. You need to have a reasonable credit history, ideally up to 6 to 12 months. And rule number 5, major life events. Avoid buying a home if you are expecting a major life event such as a baby or you are starting a business, because that adds a lot of pressure. And rule number 6, post-purchase saving. This is the most neglected one. Make sure you are able to save 20% of your net household income after you buy a home. Reverse the script. Don't put mortgage first and savings later. Prioritize investing and savings before taking into account your mortgage. Let's do some real math. For an example, you have $10,000 of net household income. Out of that, 20% goes to savings, that is $2,000. So you have remaining $8,000. And you have expenses such as car, groceries, traveling, and shopping. Let's take that number to around $4,800. So you are left with $5,200. Then you have expenses such as property tax, insurance, utilities, and maintenance. So let's take that number to about $950. So you are left with $4,250. That means you can buy a house up to 680K or 700K. If there are additional expenses such as childcare, or you are sending money back home, for an example $1,000, then that amount comes down to $3,250, which means you can buy a house up to 550K. So after doing these calculations, you will realize that you might not be ready to buy the home yet, and you have to work on your income first. So now that you know your budget, let's talk location. Because here is the reality: the budget you might have, it won't suit the space or lifestyle you need in the city, and you have to face the real tough truth. That is, if I want to get a shot at owning, I may need to leave. But moving blindly can be a disaster. So before moving provinces or even cities, I will show you some filters that will keep you out of the long-term trap. And one rule I would never break while choosing a location. First, do you work remotely? Does your job have more scope and prospects in the new province or city? You don't want to move, buy and laid off and then realize that you had more opportunities in your old province. Research. Explore the city, their safety standards, the school districts, the public transport. So, renting is okay while you're doing your research. And lastly, location and school districts are non-negotiables, even if you don't have kids, but for future resale value. Now that you know your location and budget, next question comes: what kind of home should I buy? Should I buy a condo or a house? Everyone's got an opinion. You should never buy a condo, they never appreciate in price. Condo fees are waste. Always buy a house first. But what most people miss is that they are comparing the price tags, not the total cost of living. Let's do some real math. Let's consider non-mortgage expenses for both condo and house. Let's start with condo. Condo have a condo fees, that is $550. Then there's property tax, that is $250. Hydro, $70. Internet, $30. Insurance comes around $60. And maintenance, roughly around $50. So total comes around $1,010. Now let's consider the price for a house. House don't have condo fees, but they have higher property taxes. So property tax for house comes around $350. And then hydro, $100. Heat plus water, $255. Internet, assume $60. Then insurance, $110. And for maintenance is usually considered 1% of the purchase price. Let's consider maintenance as $150. So total comes around $995. So the difference for the non-mortgage expenses between condo and house are very minimal. Another myth: condos don't appreciate. They do when you buy the condo in an area where there is easily accessible public transport and in city centers. The only reason not to buy condo is that if you are having a child or your parents are staying with you. Always remember, your first home is not your forever home. It's a stepping stone for you to build equity. Now you got your why, your budget, your where, and your what. But how do you pull this off? The process seems straightforward, right? Find a place, get a mortgage, and move in. But here is what could go wrong. Bad realtor, you lose your dream house. No financial conditions, you are locked in a bad deal. Wrong lender, you are paying hefty fees. So I have break down this exact 8-step roadmap. First, choose your team. Make sure you have good mortgage agent, a good realtor, and a good lawyer. Second, get pre-qualified. Talk with your mortgage agent to make sure that how much you can actually afford. Third, work with your realtor. Go to open houses, explore the areas, and have a checklist that contains what type of house do you want to buy. Do you need one garage or two garages? Do you need backyard? Or what type of locality do you need? And what's the age of the house you are preferring? Fourth, put a conditional offer so that you have some time for inspections, financing, and if you're buying a condo, there's a status review as well. Fifth, accept the offer. Once you accept the offer, send it to your mortgage agent so that they can find the lender. Sixth, during the conditional period, your team will work for you. Your mortgage agent, they apply for your financing. Your lawyer, they schedule an inspection. And the lawyer, they do a status review. Sign in and compliance. Sign the mortgage documents to make it official, followed by a compliance check to make sure your application details are correct. And lastly, there's a closing. This usually happens at a lawyer office 4 or 5 days before the actual closing. This is where you get your keys. If you buy this way, you are not just buying a home, you are buying it smart. So, was yesterday the good time to buy a house? No, if it meant you buy out of panic. No, if it meant draining your savings, ignoring the job risk, and buying a house that you don't like. Because the truth is, bad timings don't ruin people, bad decisions do. Because buying the house is not timing the market, is timing your life. So, when you have strong why, stable when, realistic what, and smart how, then you are not just ready, you are ahead of 90% of the buyers in the market right now. So don't rush, don't panic, be the one who is actually prepared. Because those are the buyers that win, not just today, but long term. We talked about how dangerous it can be when you buy a house if you're not financially stable. But here is another trap that hitting Canadians way earlier. The buy now pay later apps like Affirm and Klarna. They make you feel that you can buy anything until you check your bank account and realize that you are buried in invisible debt. In my next video, I'm breaking down how these apps are rewiring your brain, wrecking your budget, and making you feel stuck even if you're earning a decent money. Tap here to watch and learn how to stop spending like you are rich when you are not.